speaker for you, so it's just on me. I'll ask you just to mute yourselves. Of course, you're welcome to unmute yourself at any time, but you will show on the recording if you do have a question. But like I said, I will be hanging back for 5-10 minutes afterwards for any sort of more personal questions, or if you wanted to check something out with me. These are really, really safe, lovely practices this evening that we're going to be doing. But of course, if something doesn't feel right for you, or you find yourself having a bit of an adverse experience that doesn't feel good, you can just open up your eyes, have a stretch, move your body, and just come into the present moment. So find a way to ground yourself. That might be just pushing your hands into the floor or your feet into the floor. So when we're doing these gentle type exercises, sometimes stuff can get stirred up within us quite unexpectedly. So whilst this is a very calming practice, you know, if that does happen, you can move yourself out of the position at any time, so you don't need to stay in anything that feels uncomfortable for you. But of course, if you find yourself feeling emotional at all, you can also stay with that if you feel like it's okay to. So this practice is largely a guided practice, really honing the vagus nerve, toning the vagus nerve. And I will be doing a little bit of talking about that in a moment. We'll do a practice first. I don't want to talk too much this evening, but I will be talking a little bit to link it all in for you. But it's going to be largely practice based. So let's start the session just seated, either on the floor or in a chair. And we're going to come into a restorative breath. So often our breathing pattern, particularly if we are on the go people, if we have a drive to be productive a lot of the time, very common in Western society, we might find that our nervous system is mobilized a lot of the time. We've got the sympathetic flight fight hormones circulating around the body, almost like a bit of a drip effect. We've sort of like turned on in a way a lot of the time in a mobilized way, which means we don't always rest. Sometimes our relationship with rest can be a bit of a tricky one if we are used to being very productive a lot. So this is a really lovely restorative breath just to start to really get us into the space of the practice. So before we can breathe, before we can really access our body, we need to start off by grounding ourselves. So I just invite you just to soften down your eyes, or maybe you'd like to close your eyes. And just contact your body against the seat. Notice which parts of the body are in contact with your seat. And see if you can make even more of your body in contact. This might be leaning back a bit more against the surface behind you if this feels comfortable to do so. It might mean just rotating the shoulders a little bit, just allowing your chest to open and your back to lengthen. And this might bring a bit more contact into the chair. Taking a big breath in, and as you exhale, just allow gravity to do its job. As if you're nestling your bum into the seat. Thighs against the seat. Contacting your feet against the floor. As if your feet are magnetizing with the floor. As you breathe out, just allow your body to soften. If you need to make any adjustments, allow yourself to do this. So you're more in contact with your body against the surface beneath you, feeling your weight. At the same time, imagine you've got a helium balloon attached to each ear, and it's floating your ears up to the sky. Notice if your breath changes, just with this lengthening through your spine. Noticing the breath flowing in and out. Your jaw soft, the tongue nestled into the roof of your mouth. The air flowing in and out of the nose. As you breathe out, leaning to the out-breath. Taking your out-breath all the way to the end. Allow your belly to soften. So as you breathe out, you're letting go. Maybe each out-breath, different muscles can just start to ease back as we give our bodies the message that we don't need to be holding on, that we can soften. So we sink into the out-breath. As we breathe out, we feel our weight. There's an anchoring through the hips and the legs, possibly the feet. As you allow the out-breath to leave your body and the in-breath to naturally come in. There's a swell on the in-breath coming from within your body as you soften your belly. Notice that still point at the end of the out-breath, that moment of nothingness before your in-breath comes in. So you're noticing where the impulse to breathe in comes from. As you breathe in, just mentally say to yourself, slow down. And as you breathe out, let go. Breathing in, slow down. Breathing out, let go. Keeping that sense of your ears floating to the sky, all by themselves with these helium balloons attached. Again, just notice any subtle shifts to the breath as you invite this lengthening. Where in your body continues to let go as you breathe out. as you soften through the belly. Soften the eyes and all the muscles around the eyes. Gently bringing your awareness to your body against the seat, the floor, and your clothing against your skin. And just noticing the internal landscape of your body. You might notice a slowing down, quietening, or maybe you're aware of a restlessness or a stirring of something. Let's just honour whatever our body is communicating to us. And slowly wiggle your fingers and toes. Open up your eyes and lift them above the screen. As you focus on one thing in front of you, just soften your eyes so you can expand your peripheral vision and take some long blinks. And again, as you engage your peripheral vision, just notice what happens to the breath. As you become aware of all those things around you. In your peripheral vision, you might see the screen, your own body, the ceiling and the walls. As you slowly blink, you're feeling the warmth of your eyelids over your eyes. And notice if anything shifts in the breath. As you allow your eyes to really soften. And then turning the chin from right to left. Stretching through the neck. Maybe you want to look as far as you can over your shoulders without straining too much. This further loosens the vagus nerve, which we'll be talking about in a moment. Just feel how nice it feels just to stretch the neck in a mindful way. Or maybe you're feeling a pull or some tension. Just notice and back to center. And then just dropping your chin. And then as you breathe in, circle your right ear to your right shoulder. Exhale, drop your chin and circle down and around. And inhale to the other side, lifting the heart. Exhale, circling down, keeping the heart lifted. And inhale to a stretch. So as you exhale, your head's heavy. Just allow your head its weight. Inhale into a stretch. A few more times on each side. You want to keep the shoulders steady. Keep the heart lifted. And finishing with the head dropped. Place your hands on your thighs and just round your back. As you inhale, tilt your pelvis and lift your heart, and maybe your chin lifts. If your eyes are open, you can look up. And as you exhale, curl down and around. Inhale, lift your heart, lift your chin. Draw your shoulder blades down your back. And exhale, roll down. So if you've got any neck problems, just don't look up so high. We can mobilize the spine, keeping the chin fairly level. So we're starting to really stretch through the spine and the rib cage. Bringing movement in, shifting tension, allowing more space for the breath. And back to center. And we're going to just do some little circles now, placing your hands on your knees. So we start off by inhaling, we bring the body forward, we kind of arch the back a little bit. And then as you exhale, take it to the right, curl round, chin to chest. And then inhale as you start to come to the left. So we're pushing the body forward, arching the back, and then rounding the spine. So we want the hands firmly on the spine, on the thighs. So the hands are like anchors. And you're just mobilizing the trunk of the body. As you can see, my shoulders are pretty level. So you can really stretch into your side body. So we breathe in as we come round the front, and we breathe out as we come round the back and pull the belly in. The body loves this. And you can change direction around the front, and then exhaling as you come to the back. As you come round the front, you can lift your chin, and as you exhale the back, just pull the belly in and dip the chin. And maybe there's some other movements that your trunk really wants to take, or maybe you want to pause in a sticky place and just take a couple of breaths into a sticky area. So really feel into your body and ask your body what it needs. Feel free just to pause and breathe. Maybe your body just starts to move in a bit of a wave-like action, where your body's doing the moving and your mind is just resting and just allowing the body to move, just whatever feels nice. And you can take these movements deeper if you want. Maybe slow them right down and finding some fluidity within the body. What is this like for your body just to move and feel fluid? But there's no right or wrong to the positions and the shapes your body's making. Maybe it's moving into spaces that are quite unfamiliar. Notice how your breath moves with your body. Maybe there's some creaking, maybe there's some popping. And just coming back to a stillness when you're ready. But just take your time to get there, don't rush. And when you find your stillness, just take a moment to pause and notice your body. How it feels different now. What feels different? Part of appreciating the vagus nerve is about befriending our body, allowing the body to flow and to follow it, to notice. Just take a few breaths where you just sink into the out breath. And notice if anything feels different now. Very slowly you can open up your eyes, and if your body needs to make any movement or take a stretch, then just follow the movement of your body. Just going to bring. So just stay mindful of your body and allow your eyes to really soften. When we focus in on screens, we come into our sympathetic nervous system, the fight and flight, and the eyes become quite tunnel visioned. So just allow yourself to take some blinks and to engage your peripherals. Just be aware of what's around you. So there's not going to be loads of slides to look at. It's just this one image. This is the vagus nerve that we're looking at today and going to be harnessing. It's a really important nerve of the body because it connects us directly into our parasympathetic nervous system, our rest and digest, connect part of our nervous system. It's called the wandering nerve because there's many branches that wander throughout the body. It's also the nerve of communication. It plays such a key role in the body because it communicates to the brain constantly and from the brain to the body. So the vagus nerve starts in the brainstem. You can just place your hand, just cupping it at the base of your skull where the round part is that you can cradle. Maybe just lean your head back into it, give your head a little rest. The vagus nerve comes out of the brainstem, which is here, just at the base of the brain. And it comes out of here. You can rest your arm if you want to, and it splits into two. So one branch comes up into the throat, the ears and the eyes and merges with facial nerves. And then another part of the nerve comes down into the lungs and the heart. So there's this real interconnectedness between the lungs and the heart. The vagus nerve, as you can see in this image on the left, it goes all into the lungs, the smooth muscles of the lungs. So when we are harnessing our breath, particularly the out breath, we're engaging the vagus nerve. And it goes down into the guts as well. So when we are in our calm place, our digestive system can just work fluidly. When we're in our fight-flight response, our stress response, the belly nerve is just turned off. So it's not needed, the vagus nerve that goes down into the belly. The vagus nerve is bringing messages in from the body all the time and sending them up to the brain. So over 80% of the nerve fibers in the vagus nerve are sending messages from body to brain. So when the heart is beating faster because we're stressed and maybe working to deadlines or whatever that might be, sending messages to the brain that we are unsafe, that we're in danger. And then the brain will release chemicals, cortisol, adrenaline to fire us up, bring the shoulders in case we need to fight or to fire up the legs for flight. It will get the heart beating fast, the breath beating fast, breathing, and we'll be breathing up here, upper chest breathers, which can become a real perpetual pattern for us. And that drip of cortisol that I spoke about earlier, when we're always in this mobilized state, if we're quite sort of wanting to be productive, and we're on the go, and we're juggling lots of things, we've got this constant drip. So we've got this nerve that's sending messages up to the brain constantly, if we're not careful, that we're in some kind of danger. So what we're wanting to do is to learn how to really rest and recuperate so we can tone the vagus nerve and enhance the vagus nerve. This is a little diagram here of the stress response cycle. What's interesting here, we've got activation. So this is when there's something that needs us to mobilize, maybe a deadline, maybe a meeting, even coffee with friends. So there's activation of these chemicals in the body, cortisol and adrenaline, which mobilizes us, gets all the muscles into gear, mobilizes us into action. It then is deactivated when that stress is over. And we go into this restoration phase where we really can relax, where we restore, where the body gets a fresh release of energy, cells are repaired, the adrenal glands have a break, and we have this phase of restoration, ready for the next cycle. So we have these cycles constantly throughout the day. And the problem is that this restoration phase is the phase that we're often not very good at. We're often very good at the mobilization, but then we don't restore enough. So the vagus nerve isn't having the chance to really restore, to do its job, to get the guts moving, the digestive system, to slow down the heart and have us really kind of functioning. And this really links into our resilience. So when we've got this healthy vagus nerve, we can be resilient. We can jump into action when we need to, but we can also rest when we need to as well. And that's essentially what resilience is in a very simplistic way. So we're going to be taking a little journey around this vagus nerve today in today's class, and we're going to be finishing with some lovely belly breathing, diaphragmatic training to support a fuller, deeper breath. So one last thing from me is at the start of this session, we did a breath practice where we sunk into the out breath. We did lots of out breath cues and just sinking into the out breath. Now, when we breathe in, our heart rate increases. It's our sympathetic nervous system that's activated. When we breathe out, our parasympathetic nervous system is activated. The heart rate slows down. So the body keeps in this balance by heart rate increasing, decreasing with every breath. And it's a way of us being able to respond quickly, but also to relax as well. So by harnessing the out breath, it slows down the heart. It's called the vagal brake. So it's really good practice to to enhance the out breath and just sink into that out breath and just allow gravity to do its job. No, it enables us to let go of things in life. The out breath is all about letting go, surrendering, being vulnerable. Okay. That's enough from me. So find a nice position, again, that's comfortable for you, seated, and we're going to start with the ears and really releasing, because when we are in our sympathetic, we can have lots of tension around the ears and our head, migraines, headaches, for example. So find a nice long spine and have a sense of your body just softening. And we're going to go into an ear pulling exercise. This is my favourite, where you take your fingers on the inside of your ear and your thumb behind. So we're not on the lobe, we're on the inside, the cartilage. You can do one on each side. And then so we want a nice long spine with the chin tucked in and the neck long. Make sure you don't do that. You want that. And then allow your arms to hang. So really soften through your shoulders, soften through your arms. We want to really connect in with those heavy bones of the arms. So imagine you're wearing 2 big earrings. As you inhale, just lengthen through the spine, lengthen through the back of the neck, almost as if you're pushing your neck back a little bit, as if you're leaning it against a wall or your chair. We don't want to hang forward. And just allow your breath to soften your ears. Just notice your breath and go with any impulse, any sigh, any elongated breath. Now we want to lift up the elbows, slide the fingers up to the middle and pull back. And again, just make sure your neck's long and you're not jutting your chin out. We're following the air in and out of the nose. Allow the tongue to nestle into the roof of the mouth. your legs soft, your breath entering and leaving your belly. Relax. We want the thumb now to hook into the cartilage in the upper ear and just pull up. As you're doing this, you can just lift your eyes 10% above the horizon. And you can do this with the eyes closed or open. Just notice what happens to the breath as you lift the eyes. You can bring a little smile to your lips, which engages the facial muscles. Notice what happens to the eyes as you bring a very subtle smile to your lips. Release and take your finger. We want to take it in the tragus, which is this little flappy part, and pull forward. So the tragus has lots of fibers from the vagus nerve, so it's a really good one to massage. And then you can give that a little massage to stroke the tragus. Roll the ears out. I like to take my top part of my finger and just roll both out. You can stretch them right back. Your ears can cope with quite a lot of stretching unless you've got any injury there. You can roll them, lift them up. Just really tune in to what feels nice. This is a great one if you suffer with headaches and migraines. Maybe you just want to give your ears another stretch. Really sensing into what feels good. Just soften away from this, taking your finger and thumb, and we're going to place a thumb on that inside of the eye, just on that lovely, lovely soft part underneath where the eyebrow starts. And take the finger above it and just squeeze gently down. Moving along halfway through and another little squeeze. And moving to the end and another little squeeze. A bit trickier here. Just apply a bit of pressure. Just open up your eyes really softly. Take some long blinks. Breathe in normally through the nose. And as you breathe out, just softly breathe out through your mouth as if you're just blowing the flame of a candle. Activating your peripheral vision. Blowing out through the lips elongates the out-breath. See if you can just allow your peripheral vision to expand. This is one of the quickest stress relievers. Nice soft out-breath. Take some long blinks, feeling the warmth of your eyelids. Often don't really feel the warmth of the eyelids or the moisture. And the muscles of the eyes can really soften. Then just pause your breath, close your eyes, and just notice. Notice what's different. Notice if you're noticing any more saliva, watery eyes, a softening of the breath. All signs that your vagus nerve is being activated. You can come back into the space. Let's do a little spinal twist here. To take one arm and cross it over to the other leg. So if you're taking your right arm, you're crossing it over to your left leg. Then take your left hand behind you. You might want to just grab your chair somewhere and look over that shoulder behind you. Inhale, lengthen up through the spine. And exhale, look further. Soften back to centre and go round to the other side. We're just crossing the arm over the leg. Inhale, lengthen through the spine, and exhale, look over your shoulder. Back to centre. And you can do any kind of movement you want to take. So the eyes and the breath, there's lots of research now showing that the eyes and the breath are the gateway into this restoration state of that stress cycle. So the breath, we know that the link to the parasympathetic nervous system as we really sink into the out breath. What's interesting about the eyes in this research is that the lens of the eyes actually change shape when we are stressed. So the eyes are directly linked into our stress response. And this is emphasized when we're on screen, so really be aware of this. So the lens of the eye is like a landscape much of the time when we're relaxed. We know when you're out walking in the woods and your eyes are looking everywhere and you're feeling in tune and at one, the lens is landscape. When we become stressed, and that might be an internal stressful thought, overthinking, thinking about things, because memories are linked to the eyes and the eyes will be moving as if we're in that memory, or maybe our environment's stressing us. The lens of the eye changes to portrait. It's just really interesting that this is physiology change. But not only that, the actual eyeballs tilt towards the nose. So they actually tilt in towards the nose, which creates that tunnel vision phenomena that we have, where we can't see the wood for the trees, we become stuck in rigid thinking. You know, it's not until you might sit down to have a cup of tea or go out for a walk or have a night's sleep that answers come. It's like, oh, why didn't I think of that? Because we're literally tunnel visioned. Because caveman days, we need that to see onto the horizon, to find shapes of what might be coming to eat us. So it's very primitive, our nervous system. And the vagus nerve is sending messages to the brain that we are unsafe, because the vagus nerve goes into all of these muscles of the eyes. So by just regularly throughout the day activating your peripheral vision and leaning into the out breath, you're connecting straight into the parasympathetic nervous system, and you're harnessing the vagus nerve, and it will slow down the heart and just bring hormones into the body to settle you. So the last part of the vagus nerve that comes into this upper part is the throat. So the vagus nerve comes into the throat and it affects our communication. If we're stressed, we can lose our voice. We might go very high pitched or very, very low. So the vagus nerve is really an important one to really be able to tone, to help us with effective communication and communicating in ways that we want to be heard. Because when we're communicating in a very calm way, other people can really hear us rather than our back brain communicating with their back brain in flight and fight. So we're going to do some humming, some some fun vocal toning of the vagus nerve. So again, sit yourself up straight. You can close your eyes for this. And we're just going to start with some hums. So take a breath in, and as you breathe out a hum. Keep this going and really lean into the vibrations, lean into those vibrations that ripple through your body. Taking the out breath right through to the end. One more. And an open mouth, we want an ah. Keep this going. Really allow your body to make the sound. One more. And then just play with some different tones on the out breath. So take it high and low and make some different sounds. And just really allow yourself to go for this. I know it might make other people curious in your home, what you're doing. Go right through to the end of the out breath. Okay, and another one. Pause, notice. And this time we're going to do a constant ah, but we're going to open and close the mouth. So just really work with just different sounds that come out as you really expand and open your mouth and as you close it a little bit. So we're going to just go for it on these last two. This is the last two chances now to really just allow your body to reap the vibrations and vocal tone. So we want a nice long breath in and just let it all out. Okay, so really just playing with those mouthful shapes. Last one. And pause and notice your body. And when you're ready, just open back up your eyes. I'm just going to move a bit further back. So you can stay seated for this next exercise, or you can come onto the floor. So I hope you can hear me okay from back here. Can I have the thumbs up from someone that you can hear me okay? Brilliant. Excellent. You can see that I've just chopped the top of my head off. Okay, so we're just going to do a little bit of stretching to open up the rib cage before we head down onto the ground with a lovely finishing exercise. So you can be seated in your chair for this. I'll give you a variation, or on the floor. So find a nice long spine, and we're going to go into a lateral stretch. So taking your right hand and place it on the floor. If you're seated, cross it over your lap. So you're going to hold on to yourself in a way, and take your left arm up And then we want to come over into a gentle bend to your right. That's it. So if you're seated in a chair, you're just holding onto your leg to stabilize. If you're on the floor, you can have a nice soft elbow. We want to inhale into the rib cage. We're inhaling, expanding this side of the body. So as you inhale, just allow yourself to expand. And as you exhale, maybe just contract and soften. So there's a fluidity in the body. Inhale, expand. Exhale, you can soften a bit. Inhale, maybe turn your chin and your face to the sky. And exhale, soften. And you might want to reach forward and down, drop your face towards the ground. So just play with these different shapes. As you inhale, you're lengthening through your fingertip. And as you're exhaling, you're just softening your body out of this. It's a really gentle flow, as if we're flowing in and out of connection with the body. Just play with different shapes that feel expansive, so you can just stretch into sticky points in your body. If your arm is aching, you can bend your elbow and place your hand at the back of your head. Or you can drop your arm down, take it behind your lower back. You can still play with this. And then just bring yourself into sitting upright. Take your right arm up, and you can either cross your hand over your leg if you're on a seat or on the floor next to you. So as you come over, think more of expanding this side body. So we're not going as far as we can. We're expanding. So your rib cage opens up like a Chinese fan. We want to inhale, lengthen, and exhale and soften. Practice just dropping that shoulder, looking down to the ground, and you're reaching diagonally. Expand out, and maybe turn your face to the sky and open up your chest. And then just laterally to the side. So again, just notice what feels really nice for your body. We're finding those sticky points, and we're breathing in on the inhalation. The energy goes where the mind goes. Allow your body to move in a safe way without forcing. So last breath. You can imagine like you're a tree, maybe a big tree in a field that's just moving with the wind, reaching for the sun, and come back to center. Then just drop the head to the other side, just as a little counter stretch. And back to center. Just pause and notice. So all this work opens up the rib cage that we've been doing today, which supports the lungs, supports the fuller, deeper breath, which tones the vagus nerve. So I invite you now to come onto your back on the floor with 2 thick books. So if the floor is inaccessible to you, you can do this seated with your hand on your belly. So we want to be on the floor with the knees bent, and you place your 2 books low down onto your belly. So your hands can go face up next to you. That's one option. Maybe you want a bit more of a chest opener, and you might just want to have them over your head with your fingers almost touching, floppy elbows. Just go with what's comfortable. So notice how it feels to have your back against the ground. Notice how your back responds to your back against the ground. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, allow your back to settle a little more. And settle even more. Your head nice and heavy. So allow your eyes to soften, as if they're just sinking into their sockets. Your tongue soft, your jaw relaxed, forehead smooth. The breath is entering and leaving your nose. And you can imagine that there's a straw attaching from your nose to your belly. That as you breathe in through your nose, your belly rises and pushes into the books. And as you breathe out, the weight of the books bring the belly down, expelling air. As you breathe in, your belly pushes into the books. And as you breathe out, the weight of the books takes out the air of the lungs. We're training the diaphragm here, strengthening it to support us to take fuller, deeper breaths. We want to work with a sense of allowing, so we're not forcing the air in or drawing it in. We're just simply placing our awareness on the belly and allow the breath to come from within and to push the books up. Breathing in, expanding. Your belly softening as you push up into the books. The digestive system is being massaged. As you breathe in and your diaphragm descends, it's giving your digestive system a massage. And then as the books drop down, they're being massaged again. So on each in and out breath, we're massaging this important organ of the body. Slow the breath down. And slow the breath down a little more. If this feels really uncomfortable in any way, you're welcome just to roll onto a side with your top hand on your belly. So I invite you to send your breath into your waist. So as you breathe in and the books rise, you're also expanding into the side body, soft and allowing. So as you breathe in, you can mentally say to yourself, relax, relax, relax. And you can even send your breath down into the pelvis. So as you breathe down low into the pelvis, just inviting a softening. Allow your lower back to expand. Maybe your lower back pushes into the ground as your books rise. Maybe it's useful to count the breath. Maybe up to 4 or 5 counts on the in-breath in seconds. And the same on the out-breath. We're sending messages to the nervous system that we're safe. As we belly breathe, we're in our rest and digest. The vagus nerve is sending messages to the brain that all is well, that we're safe and we can rest. Just another couple of breaths. Removing your books gently, and you can replace with a hand on your belly. Feeling the warmth of your hand. If your hand had a message for your belly, what would it be? How does your belly respond to this message from your hand? Gently rolling over onto a side that's comfortable for you. You can make a little pillow with your arm or grab a pillow. And place your top hand over your belly. So a nice relaxed arm, and you're just engaging with your belly. And just allow the breath to expand the belly. Sinking into the out breath. Breathing in space. This is lovely to do if you struggle to sleep at night. Then you can imagine a wave of relaxation entering your feet, softening the soles of your feet, the tops of your feet, and your toes. This wave of relaxation moves through your ankles and into your lower legs. Up through your knees and into your thighs, softening and relaxing your legs. This wave of relaxation enters your hips and your belly, moving into your lower back, and up into your chest and your middle back. Sending your breath into your back body. This wave of relaxation moves in to the shoulders and down your arms into your hands. Softening the palms, the backs of the hands, and the fingers and thumbs. This wave of relaxation moves through the throat and the neck, into the face, relaxing the forehead, the eyes, the temples, the cheeks, the insides of the cheeks, the tongue, the roof of the mouth, the teeth, the gums, your lips, up into your nose. As you notice the air entering and leaving. And this wave of relaxation moves into the scalp, the hair, and the ears, and into the mind. Imagining the mind is a still and tranquil lake, perfectly still. Peaceful, quiet, Sink deeper into the quiet. You keep this sense of quiet as you come into your breath. And your body lying against the floor. And we keep that sense of quiet within the mind as we connect the clothing against our skin. The air touching the skin. Our sense of smell, taste. Maybe you can hear your body, your breath, and different sounds in the room. You start to take a couple of deeper breaths. And gently start to push yourself up into a seated position. Come into a position that's comfortable. Or you can stay exactly where you are if you prefer. And again, imagining those helium balloons attached to the ears, and just bring your hand to your heart and your belly, just to finish off the practice. As we send the breath low into the belly and allow it to top up into the heart. As we take a breath in, the lungs squeeze the heart, giving it a hug. Shoulders soft. And I invite, as you connect with the rest of your day, to stay connected to your breath and your body. To place a hand on your belly whenever you need to for support and to connect back in. I'm going to finish with a stretch. So bringing the arms up to the sky. If you want to look up, you can, or just keep your focus straight. Just reaching up through the right arm, through the left, through the right arm, through the left. Interlacing your fingers as you bring them down and flip them the other way, and you can stretch, bringing the chin to your chest and just have a nice stretch in this direction. Opening up the back of the body, and then if you want to open up the front, feel free to have another little stretch in that direction and just follow the needs of your body. So I encourage you to drink lots of water, because this movement work releases toxins, it gets it all flowing through the body into the bloodstream. So you want to drink lots of water to help pass it out. And encouragement to stay really connected to yourself. If you can, just keep everything low in the house, all the lights, roll into bed if you can, and try not to connect too much into the outside world. I'm going to be hanging back for another 5 minutes for any questions, so do feel free to just log off or stay if you've got any questions.